I'd like to look at 5 of the major properties exhibited by waves. The first is interference, and I've stated here on the whiteboard, waves sum up into patterns when in the same space. So we'll see an example that tries to shed some light on what that really means, but what it has to do with is when waves are passing through the same space, they don't really collide like ordinary objects trying to pass through the same space would, but rather what happens is they pass through each other. But as they do that, the medium actually sums up the result of the two waves, and depending on what they're doing, that can sometimes sum up in a constructive kind of way and make a bigger wave amplitude there, or it can be in a more destructive kind of way and have a smaller amplitude there. I sometimes think that word destructive, though, is misleading because usually we think of destructive as meaning to permanently destroy something, but that doesn't really happen when waves interfere with each other. The second property we have listed is reflection. So waves reflect off of certain boundaries, and we're going to explore a little bit about how they do that. Refraction is the idea that waves refract when the medium changes. And what that really means, refraction really describes a change in direction of the wave. And when the reason that happens is there are medium changes that change the wave speed, and that results in the wave slightly altering its course. Diffraction is something that happens when a wave goes through a gap or a hole or even around a corner. It breaks into different parts. It does it in a kind of continuous fashion, but it turns out the word diffraction comes from Latin and basically means to break into parts. And so that's kind of a good way of thinking about what it means. Dispersion is the last property here listed, and what it says here is that some waves' speed depends on wavelength. So not all waves exhibit dispersion. Some waves can be said to be dispersionless, or maybe a better way of saying it is that the medium is dispersionless. So a dispersive medium, on the other hand, is one in which the waves traveling in that medium have a wavelength dependent speed.